there's a path in between leading to this visibility, this vision of union. And it's a long road. You see that? You see how tiny that is? But it could be all a matter of perspective.
Yes, this card speaks of illusion just as much as perspective. In fact, one describes as a substrate of the other, while another can identify the other as foreign from it. In other words, illusion can be a component of your perspective, while your perspective, given another variable like vision and purpose, can stand apart from the illusion. This card represents misalignment of yin and yang and presides over the subject of adversity, presented at the initial stages or steps. How will they respond to the path of vision? Ask yourself this. What does that mean for me? What are my illusions? Now keep in mind, yellow represents the solar plexus chakra, relating to your identity, creativity, etc. Green represents your heart chakra, love, patience, wisdom, to include your higher heart. The higher perspective, linked to your higher self.
If you think of Alice in Wonderland, how the perspective is almost deceiving in a way that this could just be, it doesn't have to be that far, but the perception is in our human context of distance perception, perceiving the distance. It feels far. It looks far, so then it feels far.
Now let's touch on how you feel about your distance, your depth perception, and ask yourself again, what are your illusions?
Mm-hmm. So when we identify with things, it's important not to judge at face value, because you'll learn a lot more. So this eye looks very sad. Something that we need to... Hi everyone. Sorry, cut me off because of my phone memory. Anyway, totally remembered. I didn't finish that thought about commitment issues with me. Having to deal with the shadow side. But I guess that needed to be put on the table first. So anyway, there was a division I had with certain spiritualists for a time being, because I got myself mixed up into karmic bonds that passed off as twin flame relationships. And you know, the journey unfolds in itself, and I'm discovering some new things along the way, as well as elevated issues within the community, the spiritual community. And so it took me a little while to go ahead and make some decisions, and using that Queen of Swords energy.
So what I learned so far from that on my journey is another level of discernment, to bind the assessment of logic with feeling, and not to feel so bad for exercising the power of discernment in fuller capacity. So let's take a moment and regather ourselves after approaching such a touchy topic. Because when we address ourselves, we address our kin.
And anyway, when it comes down to it, because I feel like we all do that when we're in our isolated units, when we're conducting, enacting spirituality, practicing it on our own accord. But when it comes to the public eye, it's something that's very sacred to us, and we kind of shortcut to deliver whatever it is that people ordered when they pushed the button to watch whatever was on our channel. Expectations, right? Meeting expectations. Because this sitting, this video has become a little bit more serious than I expected. I didn't really... You know what, let's go ahead and just try it out, okay? Okay, so what I do when I'm having a really challenging day, or not, just to remind myself, my meditation is... Breathe out, yes. I am the f***ing Empress. I am the f***ing Empress. That's what I tend to do.
Now, this may seem a little cocky, but in all actuality, your best manifestations are affirmations that can make you smile. The most potent part of magic is that which invokes all senses, including a reciprocating response to that of your now mindset. Thus, your attitude is a huge component of the seed of what you believe. This is nothing new, yet a refreshed way of looking at things for optimal integration. You're welcome in advance. So, who cares about how people look at you? They are obviously not the ones who currently carry potent co-creating energy. So be brave, be bold, be an effing empress or emperor, and remind yourself of your power within your strife.
The Empress is allowed to cry. The Empress goes through many emotions. In fact, she has to be well versed in them and in control of them to be able to manage them, to understand, to wield them more constructively, more productively, to understand how to ground them in order to follow through with intentions, focused intentions. So when I'm crying, I see myself in the mirror when I clean up. I look at myself, not with pity, just bare eyes. And being honest with yourself doesn't mean that it's just, being soft and vulnerable and sweet. And, we've got oomph to us. And as corny as that may sound, it is very empowering to say, I'm the f***ing Empress. No one can convince me otherwise. So, I don't say that just to make me feel better, but to remind me of who I am and my sovereignty. And I don't know, I guess I'm sharing that with you because I'm tired of having to protect whatever it is that empowers me. And that's the other thing that triggered me in starting a video for today, because in the community there's lack of integrity, and it's not so obvious because of the way our world has shape-shifted, and everyone has a role within this spiritual unit of this medium for all of us to resource and learn from. So that doesn't mean that we're all friends. That doesn't mean that we all acknowledge each other. Everyone still has a paycheck to earn and kids to feed and a roof to keep over their head. But that harshness doesn't need to be expressed in volatility in a way that, I'm seeing that the office politics that I've dealt with on a physical plane is very much like on the spiritual plane of things that are left unsaid but definitely known. And there's cliques in this category, which is very, very much a culture shock to me. So, and there's a lot of reason to stay cooped up in my world of not being able to trust others, but there's only so many years I have left here. It's only an increment of time. I'm here to grow, to learn, to figure out and kind of tweak the processes to elevate for the greatest good. I'm not making a paycheck off of this, so that's not, you can rest assured that I'm trying to self-improve and trying to help others.
If anything, truthfully, people make a paycheck off of my work with the divine. But Spirit says that's just peanuts and crumbs. Let them feed on the Five of Pentacles, lack mindset energy they choose to find sustenance in. Because true abundance is neither based on taking nor withholding, but giving. The cosmic laws are embodied within this tenet of truth.
So I've wiped out all of as much as my public face that I could possibly do that in efforts to protect myself. And I didn't do the best job in that, I'm learning. with what energies are reaching me. But, and now I'm saying, you know what? People don't know me past, the 6 month span that I've been on this platform. In fact, the people that have known me 6 months ago can say, things have elevated to a point where things have changed so much for me that accounts for this time and space, this need of where God put me, okay? It's quiet time. It's not time out. It's just quiet time to reassess. And I've been gifted this.
As have you if you feel in a state of limbo, which, if positioned in the being of lack mindset, feels like stagnancy. This is a defining line of the Eight of Swords card for the realization of stagnancy, suffocation, and suffering are fear-based views that are dominantly self-inflicted.
And I've been encountering a lot of energies that haven't really directed face to face with me, but I know I can identify with where the sources are. And Spirit told me, and I'm speaking this to you to share with you, that when you get triggered by these malintended attempts, whether they mean to be directly confrontational or passive aggressive or kept within self, but really just put out into the universe because of the nature of energy, that maybe they mean to keep. If you have something bad to say, then keep it to yourself. Well, that bad energy is...
That generalization of a phrase that works in simple form doesn't apply to all formulas. When we keep energy bottled within, it takes a toll on our bodies, our frame of posture, mind, and spirit, and slowly siphons out from our alchemized words, intentions, and gestures. The internal conflict bleeds out into this world and can only be resolved if sought to be understood. Spirit often says, those who seek truth will eventually find it. Those that live their truth know that it expands beyond the bottle which houses them.
Sorry, got cut off again, so I deleted another video to clear it out for this one. I felt like it was important. So what I was saying is that negative energy contained and bottled up, its potential energy is volatility, right? So let's think about it in that way, like a volcanic dynamic. The straw that broke the camel's back. So you add all of these things onto a person, it morphs them. So it's not something that is a saying that I would like to live by or endorse. That a lot of these well-known sayings have become habitual and almost with that stamp of approval by society doesn't make it okay. So we need to think for ourselves. And here we go. I just saw 111 on the clock when it restarted.
Angel number 111 carries the triple vibration of 1, which is leadership energy, co-creation given its binary cue from the void, which is 0. Because of this, it places us in the seat of power as the magician, labeled as its respective number in tarot. We jump from the fool of the absence of knowledge to the magician in acknowledging our tools, awareness of embodiment, and alchemy. It is recommended to look up this number as well as any other angel number indicated for higher resonance to your path. It is also important not to feel limited to the outputs of truth provided, but elevate them to your own understanding.
And not to be, okay, so Spirit reminded me not to be, thank you, thank you, angels, not to react, because that is volatility, a creation of volatility, the spirit, the very seed of malintent. That's the devil sprouting his seeds everywhere, almost like just kind of sprinkling it everywhere, seeing who bites, seeing whose buttons are going to be pushed. And so it's very important to be mindful of our responses, because when I've observed this lack of integrity in the neighborhood, I noticed, okay, well, analyzing through the surface plane as well as what's not spoken, as well as energetically speaking, you can tell that there is a very deep lack mindset within that being, that they are going to underhandedly take from you and not give you props. Now, there's one thing about sharing information, and information that's open to the public or even on the spiritual plane. It's up in the ethers. It's, you know, it's mine. It's anyone's for the taking. And so, however people rationalize their misdoings, their misgivings, you know, that's their journey. But because I'm responsible for my life, what I carry on through my journey, through all my incarnations, and I want to get better. I don't want to have this baggage of having to relive this BS. Like, I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to teach this along, you know, as I progress. And it's going to be a reciprocating factor. I am determined of it.